So chapter 19 is dealing with nervous system diseases. For the nervous system, sorry, my dog, man, she is like freaking out. It's about to storm, so that's how this goes. Normal biota of the nervous system. It should not have any biota. There should not be any bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, or worms of any kind in the as we're working now, nervous system. It should not have any biota. Okay. The nervous system has immune privilege. What does that mean? It basically means that the immune response in the nervous system is lowered. It is weaker than the rest of the body, but it makes sense why. If you had all that inflammation and all of the damage that comes with the inflammation going on in your nervous system, it doesn't heal like the rest of your systems can. So it has immune privilege. Your eye also has immune privilege, but it's not quite as much as the nervous system does. So there's that. So it's a weakened immune system. We don't have the same cells moving in there, and it has its own kind of immune cells that kind of hang out there that have a weaker, they respond weaker than similar cells in other parts of the body would. Okay, the first disease that we talked about in the nervous system section is going to be meningitis. We've talked about how that's a syndrome, right? It's listed based on the symptoms of having a sore neck and a fever. But basically, it can be caused by all these different things. The bacteria that can cause, so meningitis is itis being inflammation, and meninges being like the protective covering over the central nervous system. So, and the nerves. Bacteria can cause meningitis. Bacteria that cause meningitis include Streptococcus pneumoniae. That's probably the most common one. There is a vaccine available for this. We call this the pneumococcus. It's typically associated with pneumonia. It's the top contender for pneumonia as well. And it's a pretty common one as in people's normal flora too. The PCV vaccine, that just means pneumococcus vaccine. So it's not like friendly. I don't want you to think that means that this is like a safe meningitis. It's not good. The worst one to have though is caused by Neisseria meningitidis. Now they call this the meningococcus. Neisseria meningitidis, that is a gram-negative diplococcus bacteria, and it's transmitted through close contact, and it has kind of a special symptom associated with it that can differentiate from other types or causes of meningitis. It has a petechiae type rash associated with it. Next is Haemophilus influenzae and Listeria monocytogenes after that. Haemophilus influenzae does have a vaccine associated with it if you were somebody who would be at risk for it. Listeria monocytogenes is associated with food poisoning, essentially. This is why we tell pregnant women to cook like lunch meat, because it can grow on lunch meat. I gave you a bed. Why don't you come lay over here? That's how it goes, right? Okay, fungus can also cause meningitis. Fungal meningitis, these are typically associated with lowered immune systems, especially Cryptococcus neoformans. That's associated with HIV patients and their lowered immune system. Cryptococcus neoformans is found in like bird feces, bird droppings, and then we have Coccidioides immitis. That is valley fever. So that's in like the southwest of the United States, not super common. Next, we have viral causes of meningitis. Most of the cases of meningitis that are associated with viral infection are going to be caused by enteroviruses. That's just the kind of viruses that would typically be associated with gut infection, where they start out in the gut and then move into the nervous system, kind of like polio does. With meningeal encephalitis, this is going to be, remember, itis is going to be inflammation. We have inflammation of the meninges, it's the covering of our nervous system, and then the inflammation of the encephala, which is the brain. So the brain and the meninges are going to be affected here. This is caused by two different kinds of amoebas. This is Naegleria fowleri. I don't know why I didn't write it out, but it's Naegleria fowleri and acanthamoeba. Naegleria fowleri, it can grow in like warm water and even pretty hot water. It can grow in your water heater, and that's actually not uncommon. Growing in your water heater is why they tell you don't do neti pots with tap water or like CPAP machines with tap water. You could be putting that bacteria, that amoeba straight into your sinuses, and that's how it gets in, is sinuses into the brain. These are the brain eating amoebas. In case you didn't know that, PAM is primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, and GAM for acanthamoeba, that is granulomatous amoebic meningoencephalitis. Granulomatous means, actually, there's no way to say that word, but whatever, you know what I mean. That just is referring to when your immune system tries to wall off an infection. That's a granuloma. So it's all the immune cells trying to wall off that infection and then kill it. That's granuloma. What do I want to say about these? These are found in common water, in your tap water, in your pipes, and things like that. So is acanthamoeba. Both of these are 97% mortality rate. That means 97, yes, you heard me right. 97% of the people who contract this will die from this. They're almost untreatable because the symptoms come on so quickly and so much damage is done so fast by these. The acanthamoeba one, it is a little bit slower to come on, but same mortality rate. All right, encephalitis now. This is going to be inflammation of the brain, but not the meninges, right? This acute encephalitis is typically going to be caused by arboviruses. That's just anything that's transmitted by ticks, mosquitoes, insect vectors. So if an insect vector is going to transmit the virus and it causes encephalitis, arboviruses do that. I want to say, I mean, it's like West Nile virus and Zika, those kind of typical like low-lying type infections that we don't particularly see a lot of and aren't particularly that serious. That's viral encephalitis. There was a section that was talking about subacute encephalitis that included poliovirus as well as it was measles, but not poliovirus. Why did I say that? Subacute encephalitis. It was talking about prions, and I think measles, but also I'm missing one. Toxoplasmosis. So Toxoplasma gondii is a parasite that is associated with cats are the vector, and then it can get transmitted to rodents, and then it's sort of makes them want to take risks and also slows their reflexes, which makes them better prey for cats, which are the normal hosts. And then they have the toxoplasmosis, and that can be spread through like their waste, urine and feces into the litter box, and then toxoplasma can get spread to people. People get it. It's very common, actually. You probably have had it, and if you haven't, you probably will. Don't change the litter box whenever you're pregnant, because there is a pretty significant risk for the fetus when you are pregnant. Okay, poliovirus, we get vaccinated for that. It's in the world, it's almost eradicated, except for in Afghanistan and Pakistan. It's hard to get to some places to vaccinate everybody. I'm sure that we will see eradication of polio in our lifetime. Polio is an enterovirus. You drink contaminated water, and then it gets into the gut, and then from the gut it gets into the nervous system. It can cause paralysis as well as pretty serious sequelae, which is lasting damage associated with having had polio, which I think we've talked about previously. Okay, sorry, I'm sure you guys know that I film a bunch of these in a day. So prions, I mentioned those for subacute encephalitis, right? More specifically with prions, they cause something called spongiform encephalopathies. Spongiform, literally like sponge. It causes little like holes within the brain. It's caused by infectious proteinaceous particles. The term for that is prion. That's just what they've dubbed them. They're proteins. So they don't have a genome or anything. They don't have a genome. They don't have nothing. It's just a protein So we think they are misfolded proteins. They are proteins that normally, might be shaped one way, but now they have found a different way to be folded. We're not sure why or how or anything like that. And it seems like they can come into contact with healthy versions of that protein and cause it to change into the bad version. This is sort of like, if you guys have read Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut, this is like Ice 9, not the metal band, the book. Well, the book is Cat's Cradle, but okay. Which is like a better way for water to stack, water molecules to stack. And then, if that better version of water touched the other water, then, it would cause the whole world to freeze eventually. So that was Ice 9. Okay. I don't know what to say about it. It's a protein, so you can't like kill it. It's not alive. It's not even a virus. So it's just a protein. So it's only transmissible, we think, by touching other healthy proteins and causing them to misfold. We can get rid of them by, autoclaving at temperatures of 134 degrees or hotter if we can manage it. We also want to expose surfaces and instruments, things like that, to sodium hydroxide when we want to use concentrated sodium hydroxide where we can, in order to help with the denaturing of that protein. So we can break it down completely and it cannot refold back up because it's pretty resistant because it keeps wanting to take that, bad protein shape. All right, tetanus. This is a nervous system disease. We talked about this, right? It's caused by the bacterium. Well, Clostridium tetani is a bacterium that produces a toxin that causes the disease tetanus. The toxin, tetanospasmin, makes it so that muscles cannot relax. So you would contract your muscle and you might have your muscle contracted and you cannot relax it. And so that can be pretty difficult to treat with like diazepam and stuff to help relax the nervous system essentially, while the person waits it out, because that's really all you can do for it. What was that flash? Is that lightning or something? That was weird. Did you see it? I'm like asking you like you're going to answer me. Yes. Also would like to point out tetanus and botulism, both of them caused by Clostridium bacteria. Now, what was the thing that I had mentioned previously that was special about Clostridium? I'll just wait for you guys to remember it, because I'm sure you're going to remember it if I wait long enough. Clostridium and Bacillus species, they form endospores to protect their genetic information during harsh conditions. So that's what both of these guys do. That's why they're kind of going to hang out in the soil and stuff like that. And they could kind of be on whatever. But the production of the toxin, that's what causes the bad symptoms. And that's what we vaccinate against. Botulism is kind of its opposite. Clostridium botulinum is the bacterium associated with this. What I get for drinking soda. I don't want to be burping all over this video. Yeah. Clostridium botulinum makes endospores. And yes, we know about the Botox. So that's the toxin, the botulinum toxin. And what that toxin does, it blocks the release of acetylcholine, and that prohibits muscles from contracting. So the signal they're trying to send with the acetylcholine to contract the muscle, it can't get sent. So then you are what we call flaccid paralysis. You can't move at all, like you can't contract your muscles. That's the goal whenever we get, Botox shots, of course. But with tetanus toxin, tetanospasmin, we get spastic paralysis, which is what it sounds like. The muscles, they just get all tensed up, right? And they keep trying to tense up. So that is the nervous system. That's chapter 19. And then the next one is going to be chapter 20. And I believe that is the cardio. And I'll see you guys there.